Okay, so get this. Today, we're going deep into Minnesota. But not just any old trip, right? We're talking about the mysterious side of its history.
Ooh, I love a good mystery. What have you got for us?
Well, you sent over a whole bunch of stuff. YouTube videos, some articles. Oh, and even a Twin Cities haunted handbook.
Sounds spooky already.
It gets better. There's a document, too. Lost13graves.pdf. Gets you thinking, huh? Vanishing gravestones at St. Thomas University. What's the deal with Banning State Park?
And whispers, you said. Strange symbols, too.
Don't forget the whispers and the symbols. We got to unpack all of this.
Yeah, let's dive in. What I find so interesting about all this is how it mixes real history with, well, spooky folklore.
It's like the past just won't stay quiet.
Exactly.
Speaking of things that won't stay quiet, let's talk about those 13 graves at St. Thomas University. There's this YouTube video by 1st 508th Airborne, and it's like a nighttime tour of these supposed graves.
Oh, I think I saw that one. He's got his wife and dog with him, right? Makes it extra creepy.
Totally.
Yeah.
And he keeps pointing out all these details, like how one stone says condemnation on it, sets the mood right. Then there's a dead bird, which, who knows, maybe just a coincidence, but still.
Definitely adds to the whole vibe. I noticed that too. What really gets me is the story he tells about a priest killing 12 nuns, then himself.
Yeah, and that story pops up again in a TikTok video. There's an article on 98.1 that mentions it. People are saying the gravestones just vanish and reappear.
Oh yeah, the vanishing gravestones. That's where that Twin Cities haunted handbook comes in. It goes all out with that story, makes it super dramatic.
So are we saying murderous priest? Ghostly disappearances?
Yeah.
What's the truth here?
Well, that's the thing. That 98.1 article actually debunks the whole thing.
No way. So no crazy priest, no disappearing act. Come on.
Hold on. It turns out those aren't even graves. They're stations of the cross, about Jesus' journey.
Oh, right. I've seen those.
So some are missing, some are broken. People probably just counted wrong, and boom, instant ghost story. It's kind of funny how that happens, huh? This information turns into a scary story.
Totally. But then even with the debunking, people still say they hear screaming and crying there.
Really?
Yeah. And there's this other YouTube video, this one by Sabine McGraw. She only finds 7 stones and some memorial. Makes you wonder.
It does, doesn't it? There's definitely still some mystery there.
Okay, but let's switch gears for a sec. Banning State Park. It used to be a busy quarry town. Did you know that?
I did, yeah. It's crazy how it's all parked now, so peaceful.
Right. You wouldn't even know. But there's an article from CBS Minnesota, and it talks about all the stuff left behind.
Drill holes in the rocks, train tracks, a whole building called the Rock Crusher. Imagine all that noise, all that activity.
It's like stepping back in time. But the town, it kind of just faded away. The stone wasn't as good, and steel became the big thing. Ghost town, almost literally.
That's interesting. And that leads us perfectly to the Lost 13 Graves document. Things are going to get spooky again. I can feel it.
Oh, you have no idea. 13 quarry workers dead in a rockslide, and the story goes, they're buried right there in the woods, unmarked graves and all. Chills, right?
It does make you wonder. What struck me was all the details. This park ranger, Paul Erickson, finds some stones deep in the woods, feels a chill, hears whispers, and then, get this, he sees a shadowy figure with a pickaxe. Spooky or what?
I know, right? But wait, it gets even weirder. People disappearing, hikers, even college students.
Yeah.
They say they feel icy fingers, hear voices.
Serious?
Dead serious. And there's this local historian, Margaret Green. She finds a ledger with 13 names, all marked deceased. Guess what she sees at that same spot?
Don't tell me. Another figure that vanishes.
You got it. It's also creepy, right? Whispers, shadows, people with tools. It's like something out of a scary story.
It's unsettling, that's for sure. Even without hard proof, it makes you think. Those tools, it's like they're symbols, right? Tied to how those workers died.
Exactly, like their spirits are stuck there with the tools of their trade.
Haunting, almost poetic. It makes you think about how these legends tap into our fears, blurs the lines between real and, well, imagine.
So what do we believe? Are these just stories, or is there something more to them?
It's tough to say, right? But what's so interesting is we've got 2 separate legends here, both tied to these specific places. St. Thomas with those supposed graves, nuns, a priest. The whole idea of punishment and guilt.
And that condemnation on the stone, like a warning almost.
Right. Then you've got Banning State Park, those quarry workers, and it's all about sudden death, lost graves, like they're stuck there.
It's weird, isn't it? Both places, it's like these figures are tied to where they died. Do you think maybe certain events leave something behind, like energy that some people pick up on?
That's an interesting thought, like places holding memories, not just, stuff in history books, like how a song can make you feel a certain way.
Totally. Certain smells, too.
Yeah.
So maybe some places can make you feel the past, especially if something really bad happened there.
Makes you think.
And what about that ledger? The one in that Lost 13 Graves document. It's a record book, right? Maybe it holds some answers.
Yeah, usually a ledger is for money stuff, keeping track of things. But in this case, it's like a list of those workers, and those 13 names, they're all marked deceased. And then that historian, Margaret Green, she finds it, and weird stuff starts happening.
It's like a connection to those people, don't you think? A bridge between then and now.
Mm.
Maybe we shouldn't just focus on the ghosts and legends, but on the people themselves.
I see what you mean. Like, what were their lives like? What brought them to those places that are now so mysterious?
Right. Instead of just, ooh, spooky ghosts, it's, hey, these are real people.
It changes how you look at it, for sure. When we talk about haunted places, we forget people lived there, worked, had dreams. What if these legends aren't just scary stories, but like glimpses into those people's lives?
Exactly. Imagine we could dig into the history of the quarry, find out about those 13 workers, maybe even their families. We could really understand what happened.
We could, couldn't we? Think about what life was like back then in those quarry towns, the dangers, but also what did they hope for? Maybe by understanding their lives, we understand why their stories still matter.
It's like adding a whole new layer to the story, not just about ghosts, but about people. And who knows, maybe by learning about them, we can help them find some peace.
That's a nice thought. It shows how history and mystery, they're kind of connected. Sometimes the most interesting mysteries aren't about ghosts, but about people and what they went through.
This whole deep dive has really changed how I think about things. Those legends, they're not just for scares or fun. They're a way to connect with the past, on a human level.
It's what's so great about exploring these things. You don't always get clear answers, but you see things differently.
So far, it's been amazing, right? Spooky stories to history to real people's lives. But before we finish, I want to leave everyone with something to think about.
Ooh, I like where this is going. What is it?
We've been talking about these specific places. But what if every place has a story? Like layers of history, just waiting to be discovered.
It's kind of mind-blowing, right? Every town, every building, even just walking down the street, it's like you're surrounded by the past.
I know. It's like those places we see every day. They've got secrets, stories about the people who were there before us. What if we stopped looking for, haunted houses and started looking for the hidden history all around us?
I love that idea, and I think that's something our listeners can do too, right? Explore your own neighborhood, but with new eyes. Look up the history of your house, your street, even the local park. You never know what you might find.
You might even find some local legends, those stories everyone tells, that give you a whole new perspective on where you live. And hey, maybe you'll uncover a mystery, some forgotten piece of history that needs to be brought back to life.
It's like a treasure hunt. But the clues are in old records, photographs, and those stories people have passed down.
That brings me back to what we were saying before about personal stories. Along with all that research, what if we listen to the people who actually lived through those times? You can't get that kind of connection from a textbook.
Absolutely. Those firsthand accounts, those oral histories, letters, diaries, they show us the everyday lives of those people, their hopes, their struggles. It makes the past feel real,
So it's not just reading about history, it's like we're living it. Taking those facts, the legends, and the personal stories, and putting it all together to understand these places we call home.
And that's what makes history so fascinating. It's more than just dates and names, it's all those individual stories woven together. When we explore those stories, we connect with the past in a way that's, well, pretty amazing.
This deep dive has been incredible, don't you think? We went from spooky stories to the real history behind them, to the people who lived it.
And we saw how history and mystery, they go hand in hand, making us question everything and wanting to learn more.
The best part is, this isn't the end. It's just the beginning, right? We can keep learning, keep discovering, and keep making those connections to the past.
Exactly. So to everyone listening, keep exploring. Look for those hidden stories all around you, and never stop asking questions.
You never know what you might find. Maybe something right under your nose. Until next time, happy exploring.